as you are here with me, I am here with you. And also joining us is this soft little shift try, who I thought might enjoy this story as it kind of resembles the face of this demon here, with the long white hair and the little pointy ears. But as you may have noticed, in this video I'm going to begin reading the story of Dororo. And this is a story which I was first introduced to in the anime form. It was actually released pretty recently as an anime, and I enjoyed it a lot. And so I thought maybe I would read the manga. And as it turns out, this story was actually written and published in the late 1960s. 1967 to 1968 in Shukan Shonen Sunday. But here is the collected omnibus of all of those publications. And while it is a very thick book, I don't think it will take too long to get through. But I will do as I've done in the past and read this by chapters, but in hour segments, or as close to that as I can come. So before we begin, I invite you to take some deep breaths to make yourself as comfortable as you can, and to allow the tension to be released from your jaw, your neck, your shoulders, and anywhere else where you might be holding tension in your body, and allow your ghost to settle deeply and calmly within you. And so we begin the story of Dororo by Osamu Tezuka. And we see here the face of a demon, the tiny, sad little body of baby Dororo, and what I think is maybe his older version. And then some kind of gorilla down here. And I'm not sure if you can see, but the background is sort of a bunch of anatomical drawings, sketchings of the human body, organs, vivisections, skeletal nervous systems, and the like. I also just want to point out that the anime, I think, had a bit darker of an animation style, and when I first started browsing through this version, it seemed almost too cartoonish for the content. But I think that part of that has to do with the era that it was originally created in. And I guess what I mean to say is to not be fooled by some of the more lighthearted sketches, as the content can be a little heavy. Inception. So here we see a temple at night with rain pouring down, and an old man stands at the top of the stairs to the temple and says, "Lord Daigo, I have been waiting for you." And so we see Lord Daigo following the old man, and the rain is coming down. Crack! Lightning strikes. Rumble, rumble, as they walk steadily towards the Hall of Hell, as this placard says. The rain continues to pour down as the old man throws open the doors. Creak. And as the light of the candle flickers in this room, we see multiple hideous statues facing the two men, holding bones, weapons. Lord Daigo does not seem disturbed. Splendid, dear priest. It's said they're Ungai's son, Unga's creations, but there are no inscriptions. It's as if they're possessed by evil spirits. They say the sculptor went mad after creating these 48 demon figures. Intriguing. Dear priest, I intend to spend the night in this hall of hell looking at these devils. You may retire and leave me be. Alone in the hall of hell. Indeed, I need to be alone with my thoughts. You keep out till the morrow. Very well. Good night, Lord Daigo. This old man decides to leave him there, although he must be a little confused as to why Lord Daigo wants to spend a night surrounded by such hideous creatures. Lord Daigo, now alone, takes his sword from his belt and sits in front of the 48 demon figures. And we can see them all surrounding him here, although this is far less than 48, so they must be everywhere, higher and around him. 48 devil gods, demons, hear and grant me my wish. I want to rule this land, this entire country. Lend me your strength and you'll have whatever you want. Is it money? Name your price. A sacrifice. He is petitioning them for the most power. Suddenly he notices a baby mouse seems to have dropped from one of the statues. Are you saying you want my child? Done. You'll have my child, due to be born the day after tomorrow. You each take a desired part of my child, its eyes, ears, something and know nothing. No, you heard, and now you must die. He grabs the hilt of his sword, and with one swipe, sends the old man flying off the railing to the ground below. Nothing personal, dear priest. Drag. Lord Daigo has gone down to the old man, perhaps to make sure that he's dead. Demons, accept my first offering. Oh, he's placed his sword into the man's chest, and another lightning bolt strikes the sword in the old man, creating a pyre of his body. Lord Daigo looks on, not disturbed but exhilarated, and soon the rain puts out the smoldering body, and the sun can now be seen through the canopy. Perhaps it's the next day. We see here a man riding a horse, and here are some birds, chirp chirp, feeding their young. Looks like a swallow. And another bird flying overhead of what looks like someone's home. Chirp chirp. Now it's washing itself in the water. Eee! Something swoops by overhead the bird and it dives into the water. Eee! I wish I knew what these symbols meant. But now we see two figures exiting the house quite quickly. Why so scared? Is that Lord Daigo? Oh yes, he has the cross on his forehead. I guess this is his home. My lord, it is born. Let me see. This must be his wife and the child that was due to be born this day. Jolt. He seems disturbed, and then he throws the blanket back down. My lord. He is silent. They kept their word. Yes, the mother, if that's who that is, does not look happy. But Lord Daigo is ecstatic. Rejoice, this land will be mine. I'll see to it. He is shaking with joy, or something like that. He looks back at his wife, who's still lying down in the room. What are you glaring at? You think it wrong of me to laugh? Get rid of him. He stands in the way of my destiny. Get rid of him. This is your child. You are his father. So it was, until 3 days ago. But now he's a shell of a human being, his humanity sucked by the devils. No, I won't get rid of him. You're the demon whose soul was taken by the devils. Yeah, sure is. He won't survive even if he did. He wouldn't be able to speak, see, hear, or use his hands. Get rid of him now and you'll soon forget him. I don't know how she would forget him. This is pretty unforgettable. But it appears Lord Daigo, the mother, and perhaps the caretaker are just silhouettes at the edge of this water where they appear to be pushing off a small bundle, presumably with their child. Forgive me, my child. If the fates are with you, grow strong. Don't stay back, my child. She seems to regret pushing him off. But she obviously is hoping that he may yet live. And so we see the baby, wrapped entirely in bandages, floating down the river. chapter is titled Yakimaru. We're in some sort of grassland, and a figure is appearing through the winds. Halt! Perhaps these are two warriors meeting someone here. You're trespassing on our turf. Go back now. Looks like he can't even pay the toll. This figure is surrounded by a bunch of warriors. Kid, where'd you find that sword? Looks really sharp. Hand it over. It's just an empty scabbard. There's no sword. Don't jerk us around. Get him. Don't be stupid. Stand back. You don't want to mess with me. I'm not looking for trouble. Shut your yap. I see. If you insist on drawing near, you give me no choice. He seems to throw down the sword or the empty scabbard, and one of the warriors dives for it. And suddenly, shing! He spins and flings off both of his hands, revealing two swords underneath that appear to be what he has instead of arms. And he spins into the crowd of warriors, cutting them all simultaneously. And now we see him standing here, the lone survivor. See, the blades are connected to my arms. I told you there was nothing in the sheath. I'll take it back. He picks it up with his toes. I'll put my arms on, and I'm off. He reattaches both hands, covering up the blades that are his arms, and continues to walk on his way in the windy grasslands. And then suddenly he notices something. Who's there? Who's following me? Flip, flip, flip. He sees an empty pair of sandals. So perhaps he goes to follow it. Now we see that he's in a town with a lot of birds looking down on him. He looks in on some windows, but doesn't seem to notice anyone. I'll plop down here. Still coming after me. He looks back, but sees nothing but the wind and the birds. Flip, flip, flip. So he waits on this bale of hay. Flip, flip, flip. Perhaps somebody is following him. Still, he is waiting. And then suddenly, he gets ready, unsheaths one of the sword arms. Yeah! And slices where there were a pair of empty sandals, cutting the sandals. And something is spurting out of them. Maybe blood or some kind of black liquid. Nothing but steam arising from these puddles of blood. Idiot. No point following me forever. And he walks away, trailing footprints of the black liquid. What a nuisance. I can't even travel in peace. He picks up his hand, which seems to have grabbed something. Taking me for a fool just because I can't see or hear. Oh, okay, so I guess he's blind and deaf. Could have fooled me. Even if I can't see, I got my inner eye. After 14 years, I see no differently from others. Well, I guess he can see, just not with the does not seem like it's going to stop. And so the man runs, dash, and runs very fast, but the dog seems to run fast. Oh, he's running towards it, so now they are coming right at each other. Sank. And then they pass each other. The dog stops, and then splits in half. I guess that he sliced the dog in half, so he's very fast. And the dog immediately burns up to a skeleton. Must have been another kind of demon dog. Idiot. Hyakimaru is this boy's name. He is always being followed, but his stalkers aren't human. Why? I guess this is like a narration. So this is Hyakimaru, who is deaf and blind, but can see with his third eye, and has swords for arms. And now we see him standing over what looks like a giant brawl. A bunch of men are thwomping somebody who's on the ground. Pow, pow, pow. Now you see what happens to those who mess with us, kid. Oh my gosh, it was just a little kid. Ding. The little kid managed to sustain the beating and then throws a rock at one of them. Still at it, eh? And he's back, punching down on the poor little kid. They've grabbed him by both of his legs. Stomp, stomp, stomp. Guess they let him go. Nya, nya. Ding. Throws another rock right at the biggest guy. Grrr, I've had it. The big guy runs back at the kid and grabs him, throws him into the water. Splash. Hey, get me a straw mat. I'll wrap the kid and drown him. One of his buddies says, here, throws him a straw mat. Wait. Why kill the kid? He's finally breaking it up. Spit. None of your business. Just shut up and watch. I don't think so. I'm a kid. He's a kid. We kids look after each other. Listen up, kitty samurai. This kid's called Dororo. He's a real pest. Oh, okay. So, it has been a while since I've watched the anime, and I guess I thought that Dororo was the name of the demon forsaken baby, but I guess it's this kid. He's a real pest. Dororo. Maybe he recognizes the name. Yow. He ain't no kid. He's a ditch rat disguised as a human. He tricks and steals from people, harasses them. He sneaks around like a weasel, and even when you give him a licking, he doesn't care. He's brassy, so we're gonna drown him, got it? Why not take him far away and leave him? He'll cause trouble no matter where we dump him. So you have to kill him. If he dies, he'll haunt you. Who cares? Drown him. It's actually really impressive that this little kid has been able to do this much damage and disturb all these guys so much and survive this long. Hey, wait. You hear that? It's the voice of the dead. What voice? I don't hear a thing. Listen carefully. It's getting closer. Yeah, you're just bluffing. I don't hear anything. It's definitely a dead spirit. And the clouds begin to cover the sun and the sky. Look, it's getting cloudy, and the air's turning cold and damp. Hundreds die every day these days. You can't be fretting over dead souls. Is that right? It's already here. He seems very confident. Something is emerging from the water. Hey, what's that drifting? Is that your so-called dead soul? Don't touch it. Don't make me laugh. It's some old rag. The biggest of the thugs goes to touch whatever is coming out of the water. Splash. Whoa. It looks like a huge iceberg. and as it emerges, it looks like it has a pair of eyes. Otherwise, it's made up of a bunch of sludge. Yowza! Get away! All the thugs are swimming, trying to escape whatever is emerging from the water. Somebody, you, help me! Dororo has managed to climb out of the water. My body's melt. Wow, and he's not even able to finish. As we see the skin melt from his skull, and then he is subsumed into this giant mass of sludge, which appears to eat the flesh off of humans. Splash! And now it grips one of the pillars that hold up the bridge, and it appears to be the one that Dororo is on. Help! Whoa! Hurry! Climb up! Hurry! I can't! I'm slipping! His little foot slips. Damn. But he manages to get one hand up onto the bridge and then pull himself up. Good, you made it. Now run to the foot of the bridge and watch from there. Dororo listens and dashes to the end of the bridge. And our warrior friend throws off his hand once again to reveal his incredibly sharp swords, just as the sludge monster begins to climb on top of the bridge. Yeah! And he goes into him with his blades, chopping the bridge. Slash, 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 jump. Crumble, crumble, crack, crack. So he seems to have cut all of the pillars which held up the bridge, and it crumbles, splashing back down into the water. Crash! And hopefully burying the terrible sludge monster. But it's hard to tell. It may have just floated back off into the water. Phew. Dororo is safe. You'll be okay now, Dororo. The dead have no shape of their own, so they take on the form of anything from sandals to dogs to the pile of garbage you just saw. When you break it up or sever its body parts, it'll back off for a while, but it soon takes the form of something else and comes after you again, like space aliens. You be off now. Dororo just looks at him. This arm, it's a prosthetic. Let's not ask too many questions. Now go, scram. Doesn't look like he wants to go anywhere. Hey, don't be so cold, bro. Drop the creepy voice, now go, or I'll slash you. And then it seems that Dororo has run off. You blockhead doofus, poop for brains. Oh, and he throws a rock, which he quickly deflects. And now he's off walking again through the forest, but it looks like there's a little figure following him. Why are you following me? I got some business to take care of. You know that sword connected to your arm? That's a renowned sword, right? Don't know all about that, but if looking at it makes you shudder, maybe it is. I figured as much. The way it cut gives me goosebumps. I'd like it to be mine. It seems Dororo has turned his attention towards our warrior friend here, whose name I keep forgetting. Well, I'm sure they'll say it again. You want this? Are you nuts? Listen, I'm Dororo, known as the kitty thief. Once I want something, come war or dump truck collision, I gotta have it to protect my rep. I'm surprised they have dump trucks here. Cut the crap, the sword's connected calls thief, or Dororo in kitty talk. So I guess his name is Kitty Talk for thief. Or as he said, he's known as the kitty thief. Very mischievous, this little guy. And as he's continuing to follow, suddenly the grass grips his legs. Rustle, rustle, and grabs his arms. Wow! And pulls him down to the ground. Told ya. But our friend is running back, presumably to save him again. But then something grips his own leg. Or perhaps not. He pulls off his arm and uses his sword to slash into the grass, stabbing at perhaps what was another of the dead, chasing him down. It sort of sizzles and disperses. What? Don't cry. That's why I warned you. He's still smiling, but he looks a little more shaken. Idiot, don't touch the sword. My touching it won't do harm. Come on, it's not like some rare gem. Dororo, watch, pay attention. And now we see him staring down at Dororo very intensely, so intensely that his eyeball is emerging from its socket. And now we see both of his eyeballs drop clear from his head. Ugh, your eyes. This freaks Dororo out and he jumps back. Dororo, pick those eyes up. He reaches out tentatively and grabs one of the eyeballs off the ground. They're glass eyes. Well, they didn't look like glass eyes when they were falling out of his head, but I guess they are glass eyes. Get it now? I'm blind. Those are just for show. But I know exactly what you're doing. I'll tell you one more thing. And he pulls off one of his ears. This ear's for show too. What? I actually don't hear what you're saying, but I can intuit exactly what you're saying, so it's no different from having ears. Wow. Wow, so he cannot hear or see, but he can spiritually hear and see. Scared. You should be. This sort of creepy visage of a empty eyes, earless fellow talking to him. I'm told, as a baby, I floated down the river in a tub. Dororo looks scared. And here again we see the baby from the beginning floating down through the water. A doctor found me. He was there, picking medicinal herbs. The doctor looks quite gruff, just going about his work when suddenly, whoa, he touches the small bundle. He looks around, perhaps wondering if this is some sort of trick or trap. Seeing nothing, no one, he grabs the bundle, picks it up, and walks back home. And now home, he's able to investigate. Is it human? Twitch, twitch. The little bundle is moving, and we see a tiny head, lacking eyes, a nose, a mouth, peek out from under the blanket. Twitch, twitch. The poor little baby who had all of its body parts taken in by demons is still alive. I had no arms or legs, nor eyes or ears, but holes in the face where the eyes, nose, and mouth should have been. But it definitely is human, Roll. If it's human, could there be one as pitiable as this in the world? It is quite pitiable. The doctor gave the baby gruel, and the baby sipped on it. How can this be? Who abandoned him? An ogre? A monster? Poor thing. I want this child to survive. If he makes it, I'll raise him, the doctor swore to himself. His gruff demeanor is softened as he looks so lovingly on this poor, pitiable baby. And now we see the snow falling, and then presumably the spring with a bee on a flower. A few winters and springs, summers, autumns passed. I like how the summer is depicted by these bamboo shoots. The doctor continued to raise the child. The child did not die. As always, he found his way to his food bowl on his belly and chowed down. The doctor wondered, how does he know where the food is if he can't see or smell? What if he has powers beyond our senses? One day the doctor heard a voice by his ear. I want to eat. Who's there? I must be hearing things. I'm hungry. Who's calling me? I heard the voice so clearly. In my head. He throws open the door and looks over the little basket where the baby is, and it appears awake and hungry. Did he call me? It can't be. Feed me. It certainly is his voice in my ear. The doctor said something in his heart to test his theory. You like me? An instant answer. Yes, I love you, Papa. The doctor was stunned with joy. The baby had learned to communicate without using his mouth or his ears. So now we see him, having brought the baby outside. He's holding him over a bed of flowers. These are flowers. Flower. Yes. Those are birds. Can you tell? Not sure, but I sense them. I'm starting to feel good about this. You'll grow up just fine. But you want to look normal, right? I'll give you arms and legs. We'll at least make you look normal. I'm not sure how the baby would know what normal is, but definitely trusts his papa. The doctor was highly learned and skilled. Night and day he used wood and ceramics to make prosthetic arms and legs and eyes. We see him whittling away at night as the little baby just senses things from behind. One day the baby was given medicinal herbs. They were anesthetics. This is kind of a scary picture. The darkness, two hands with knives held right above the baby. The doctor began to operate. Many hours passed. We can see him working intensely. A miracle was taking place. Now he has a thread and needle, sewing up the baby, and now he's holding one of the glass eyes. And now he's soaking the feet. When the anesthetics wore off, a healthy child, or a perfect resemblance of one, lay there. I mean, that's almost more creepy than the little faceless baby, but perhaps it will be better off. You'll be able to get up in a month. Papa, my body's heavy. It'll feel heavy at first. Those arms, legs, ears, and nose are see him running. He could run freely. Watch out for that rock. I'm fine. And he leaps over the rock. That child seems to have intuition that allows him to see. He was born with those powers because of his congenital defects. Here he is, holding a stick. But one day, a frightful thing happened, and the little boy is poking at a fire inside. But something giant, ominous, stares at him from the darkness, just outside. He's poking at the fire. Gasp. Hello. I don't feel well. Is the doctor in? A woman has walked into the home. Papa, patient. The doctor hears the little boy and goes to see who has arrived. She looks sad but kindly at the little boy. This is strange. You have no pulse. No pulse means your heart's not beating, which means you're no different from a dead person. The doctor has her laid on an examining table. Doctor, you're highly reputed. Help me. But I've never seen your ailment. I can't help you. Yet you raised your son to be a fine boy. And here we see the son with his crazy wig, suddenly sensing something. Papa, she's not human. Hey, what are you doing? The hair of the woman turns into grasping tentacles that start to strangle the doctor and draw him closer to her. You're going to choke me to death. Let go. And the little boy, sensing the danger, jumps up and grabs an axe. Choke! Help! And he runs into the examining room and chops down on the monster's neck. And her head flies off of her body. Speckles of a dark liquid coming from behind. And then he grabs a torch and shoves the fire onto the fleeing monster's head. Shriek. And it's caught fire and falls to the ground, burning up. The doctor is recovering on the ground. Pant, pant. Papa, are you okay? It got me. I never expected a ghoul to disguise itself as a patient. I don't ever want their likes coming around here again. They're burning up what remains of the ghoul, just the clothes she was wearing. The dark smoke travels into the sky. But that wasn't the end of the frightful incidents. Yikes. They became more frequent. The doctor reveals a ghoul hiding under one of the pot lids. And then another one, sort of a skeletal woman, hiding in the closet. And as time passed, the doctor's house became a monster hangout. We see them all piled up outside of the door, and in the other rooms, under the floorboards, in the rafters, in the pots. Even this little mouse looks scared. Shriek. Woo woo. Day and night, sounds and voices were heard from the ceiling and around the house. The sky would hail rocks. Black, black, black. I don't know who this guy is, but he's getting pelted by these rocks. Weird beings crouched in the corners. They would trip the doctor. You see the doctor falling. Somebody grabbed his foot. The doctor couldn't see them, but the kid could. Finally, the doctor said, "Son, it seems those monsters are after you, not me." So I guess he can't see them, but they're everywhere. known that you're not normal. In sci-fi jargon, you'd be a mutant or a cyborg. That seems really out of place. The ghouls are likely drawn to your special abilities. Either way, you can no longer stay with me. Go, travel. You may find a world that'll accept you. The poor son doesn't look happy about this. Tears are falling from his face. The world is wide. There has to be a place where you can find happiness. I understand, Papa. I won't be a burden on you. The child resolved to leave the doctor's house that night. That night, the doctor performed his final operation. We see him once again working over his son. That's a special prosthetic. You can bend your fingers using your shoulder muscles. Wow, that's really a technological marvel. When I was young, a general gave me this fine sword. It doesn't bear the craftsman's name, but it is a treasure. I'll attach this to your shoulder. When needed, you can take off your arm and use the sword. You'll want to be able to talk during your travels. This is a guide to ventriloquism. You'll learn to talk from your stomach. It's funny that he just had a guide to ventriloquism to give to his son. Papa, I will never forget your kindness. He's thankful, but still crying. Now put on your kimono and stand up. You make me proud, son. From now on, you shall be known as Hyakkimaru. So we see him proudly standing, Hyakkimaru. Note, Hyaki means 100 demons, and Maru means feudal suffix for boys' names. Oh, it's a feudal suffix for boys' names. So, something like the boy of 100 demons, Hyakkimaru. He looks very proud and ready with his new sword, his movable fingers, and his guide to ventriloquism. The day of his departure came. Take care, Papa. I promise to call on you someday. Take care, Hyakkimaru. Papa, Hyakkimaru. And we see him walk off into the distance, away from the man who saved him, who healed him, and became his Papa. And so he is back in the rain, or off in the rain for the first time, hiding somewhere. Hyakkimaru, Hyakkimaru. Who's there? No one. Just listen. Are you a ghoul who followed me? No, but you shall encounter 48 demons. What? Your body is missing 48 body parts. He's stunned. Vanquish those demons, and your body may return to normal. Is that true? Tell me, where are those demons? Do you know my origin? He shouts into the darkness. But he hears only a laughter in response. And then something shines from outside. Rumble. He falls to the ground. Or maybe it's just the daybreak and the rain has stopped. 48 demons, eh? I won't forget. 48 demons. And so he is off on the journey of his life to encounter demons and encounters you will have along the way. We see him walking beneath this giant, beautiful tree. Perhaps these branches represent all of the branches that his path will take. Or the demons that he will encounter. It's cool. Huge tree. Well, the next chapter is titled The Monk, but I will be stopping here and picking it up in the next one. But as ever, thank you